Hey, if you want your electrician business to be here and here and here, then this is the video you have to watch. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to rank your electrician business or your clients, if you have clients in this niche as an SEO agency, for everything GEO, AEO, AI SEO, and good old-fashioned SEO, which is the backbone of AI SEO success. Let's go. All right, so what are we looking at here today? We have the SERP for Electrician Tampa. In this video series, I show you one niche a day, how to rank for any niche. Today, I'm doing electricians. And what I'm going to be doing is a quick analysis here of the map pack. I'll give you a few tips on how to rank better there. Then I go down to the organic search. I explain you how certain results are actually hard-baked and how that's going to influence what you can aspire to realistically. Therefore, if you do this for clients, what you can offer them as expectations to stay realistic and not overpromise. Never do that, guys. Never overpromise in SEO. There's no need to do that, okay? You can be realistic, and that's actually a lot better for everyone involved. And then I'll show you, based on this, what matters out of this, for this, and this. How does this get done? How do we show on multiple traditional search engines, as well as some of the recommended businesses here on AI searches? So Electrician Tampa here on the map pack. Who do we see? Small Jobs, Mr. Electric of Tampa Bay, and Brandon. Now, some of these competitors, very, very strong. Okay, lots of years in business, very high rating, loads of reviews, loads of reviews. In this place here, what matters the absolute most is the amount of reviews, the rating of those reviews, the volume, the velocity in which you get them, right? If you get increasingly more reviews and the rating is better, you're gonna start getting a lot of positive sentiment within this algorithm, which is completely separate from the algorithm below. Do know that, okay? And that's gonna boost you up. And then, of course, the absolute freaking bare bones is going to be make sure that, you know, your listing, all these listings are, is well filled up with your hours, FAQs, some of these questions you have to see it yourself to start some conversation, right? You need to make sure that your images are optimized for the service and make sure that people can very easily contact you, and then you respond to the phone very fast. Congrats, you're winning in local. There's a few things that you can do. There's tricks and hacks some smart SEOs have devised. There's other people better qualified than YouTube to teach you the hacks of local SEO. I can teach you the principles that will get you 95% there. For the 5% margin of wins in virtue of doing weird stuff, we'll leave it to the pros. Now, what do we see in the organic? Rating website, forum, reach feature, actual business. So actual businesses, right? In many of these local searches, unfortunately, this is the reality. We don't need to paint it prettier so that we can sell more SEO services. The reality is there's been a lot of loss of value of what position number one means. It doesn't mean that there is no value. There is still hundreds of leads every single month performing this query, really needing an electrician. So if you happen to be here at the top, you will continue to get a lot of qualified leads, just not the outrageous amount that people were getting after before, right? So with that being said and put into context, now we have now a handful of actual competitors. Okay, these guys are all going to be fighting for actually the same positions. The SERPs is always going to offer some rich answers, meaning variety of answers, because when you look for an electrician in Tampa, Google doesn't know exactly what it is that you look for. You might be looking for reviews, you might be looking for actual businesses, you might be looking for questions related to electricians in Tampa so you can find out more. Maybe go to Reddit, give them user data, they pay for it. I don't know, right? I don't know, but Google tries to be inclusive. And in virtue of doing that, sometimes the results are a little bit whatever, right? We just get this, which, I mean, it's not great. But other people have caught up, and now they go in here. They're like, you know what, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT, right? And then with ChatGPT, you can be very thorough on your questions. So instead of just saying, you know, I need an electrician in Tampa, you're like, hey, ChatGPT, I need an electrician in this area of town. The following electrical problem that I have, very specific electrical problem in my house, and my budget is this much. Who should I call? And people are going to start trusting ChatGPT in this kind of way where like they're going to make their questions very specific, and then it's like, what's my solution? And whatever they say is going to be like, okay, I will call Mr. Sparky of Tampa, right? Because they're at the top, and this, you know what, the AI decided to throw, which is massively influenced by these, ladies and gentlemen, as well as this, okay? We do know, this has been revealed trillions of times already by people who are very good at research in this industry, which is Not me. I read the research that everyone else does, and I combine it. I do strategies. I deploy them. They work, and we make money. But I'm not a massive SEO researcher. I'm mostly a scholar. So other researchers in SEO have done tons of tests for manipulation of ChatGPT and other search engines that are AI powered, and they found out that the more they feed X to search engines, traditional ones, the more X gets said here. So if you want to maximize your chances for success on ChatGPT and Perplexity and any other fancy search engine that might happen to get a marginal amount of market share, you definitely want to really improve your SEO. So how do we get here? Good. That's going to be 80% of our conversation. First off, we need to make an analysis of the competitors in the niche. In today's run of some hardcore data that all SEOs should be getting their hands on in order to make good decisions, we're going to analyze small jobs. Small, that's the accent showing up there for you. Small Jobs Electric, Hoffman Electrical, and Casars Electric. What are we going to be analyzing for these guys? We're going to be looking at their backlink profile, okay, which we have segmented here. That's not a very good line. We've segmented here in different buckets, 5 different domain rating buckets. We like domain rating over domain authority. Domain authority has been too easy to manipulate over too many years. So I no longer trust that metric at all as a default. Domain rating, if it's manipulated, you can always spot it very easily. So with that, we've used domain rating as our best guideline to assess the power of the websites linking to these competitors. And we've used points because we use a contextuality and relevance type of scoring system in which, when we analyze both the website and the page in the website that's linking to those competitors who are ranking here in this niche of electricians in Tampa, if we stay here on track, right? When we analyze the websites that link to them, we're going to ask a question of how relevant is this website, right? So if you have a site for an electrician business and you have your city council linked to you, that's very relevant because you're a local business. If you have the guild of electricians linked to you, that makes absolute sense, right? But that's like the most perfect contextual relevance and topical relevance. In most cases, you will have some DIY blog from Caitlin, who runs a DIY blog in her city, talking that, you know, the fixtures in my latest DIY project were done by XYZ electrician. And such link is fantastic, right? For the niche, that would be a pretty relevant website, even though it's not in electric, because it makes a lot of human sense, right? People lose their minds thinking that everything has to be niche down because they can only think of relevance at the level that the mental math goes to. But algorithmically, relevance is an absolute spectrum. It's not relevant or irrelevant, it's a spectrum. And it's been mapped out in the same way that words in LLMs are mapped out as sets of coordinates. Relevance is meaning, and meaning gets only described by words. That's how traditional search topic relevance has always worked, by distance of subjects. So a DIY home renovation blog in the city makes absolute sense, even if it's a mom blog. You gotta put things into context because there's a lot of people who get angry at mom blogs when in reality, for the right place, in the right context, they can be fantastic links. Now, that's free knowledge that you get today because I feel a bit talkative today. The page level relevance is what's the page about. If both are relevant, that's going to get 2 points. If only one of them is relevant, 1 point. If neither of them is relevant, but the site is still good, condito sine qua non, the site has to still be good and pass the checklist for quality criteria of what makes a good website. I will create a video. I will link it on this series. If you're wondering where to get the data for this video, there's a video that I will link, I believe goes here, that shows the process on how to get the data to know how many backlinks you need to rank number 1, which is what I'm going to show you, right? How many backlinks are you going to need to rank number 1 in this industry, and how to analyze that data to put an SEO and GEO winning campaign together and just deploy it and win, right? Because marketing is a lot in the strategy and the thinking, and when something is so numbers driven as SEO, it's very scientific in its approach. It's not like ads or content. You put one piece of content out there that goes viral. Congrats, you're viral. 3 million views. In SEO, your one single blog post is not going to go viral on search. So you have to do the scientific bit by bit part, publish content, get quality backlinks, build a moat. So now that we put that into context, right, this is then the points that they have when we account for relevance. And this is already looking only at good backlinks that are of quality enough to amount to anything in the algorithm to push the rankings forward for these guys, aka they do pass PageRank, right? If I believe the sites are passing PageRank, I will score them. If I know that Google ignores those websites because they are pure spam with no traffic, no keywords, right? If they've been demoted to nothing, I know those sites don't matter. I don't score those. Okay, simple. That gets us some pretty trustable data. When we then do a comparison of our client, right, or our business, starting from zero, we want to start getting some leads from Google. Dear sir, how do we get there? Well, you need to get here, right? We need to build these very many link points throughout the different DIA buckets, right? We need to make a good job there with the high domain rating links, right? DR up, we gotta do that. And this is exactly our action plan, right? This is where they are. And of course, because the gap is absolute, this is what we gotta do. So to do this, if we are realistic about our link building, if we're ambitious, we can also be ambitious, but sometimes it's better to be realistic. If we're realistic about our link building and we consider that every link that we will acquire will be only about 1 point of relevance, right? The website might be more or less relevant. The article will be more relevant if it's a guest post. If it's a link insertion, the article could be super relevant. The website may not be kind of relevant, and the article also kind of relevant. It's typical of roundups for Haro. If it's digital PR, the article will be relevant, but the website will be 0% relevant because it's going to be a really high DR, thoroughly relevant site. You need to know what the kind of links that you get from different link acquisition tactics are really going to do for you, right? But when you kind of put them all together, provided that they all have trust, which is to say they have traffic from SEO, they will all basically amount to power, right? We slightly oversimplifying here so that we don't lose our minds in the minutiae of the data, and we know that, yeah, this is the right course of action because we can see sufficient data that validates this. You have to be scientific in SEO. Fantastic, right? With this, simple math is this gap when we compare against these guys, okay? However, when I pull the list of competitors to create this report, the top competitors in this niche were these three. But then there was a spam update happening, which is still going on, right? Started at the end of August. I'm recording this on the 18th of September of 2025. And Google August spam update is still rolling, which means that between the time where I pulled the top competitors that I was seeing on search and the time that my team actually created this report, which was barely 1 or 2 days, because I typically request those in reports at a given time, right? So it takes them like a couple of days to put together. This is actual work. But that time, the top competitors had changed because there's volatility on this niche at the moment, which teaches us a lot. So what do we see now? We see force electric service, which we didn't analyze in full as the other guys, but we can see that at DR7, UR12, so the DR is lower than the other competitors, right? If you go back up, right, the DR here was 21, 25, 15. We know it's between these and these, right? So somewhere around DR 20, 21, there's going to be success for us. Okay, how do we get there to DR 21 in a real DR 21, not a manipulated one, right? So how do we get there without manipulating the number? By in virtue of getting actual good backlinks, right? And where is this guys? Okay, DR 7. And then, but this is too big, right? This is a massive, like, competitor. And then Casas Electric with their emergency page, interesting. This is not the right page, right? The homepage will be the right one. But again, at DR21. So like, okay, DR21 inner page, so score, of course, the score is going to be 0, but Casas Electric will have more stuff at the homepage level, right? And then Force has 5. And these guys here with their Tampa page, which means they have an even bigger site, again, DR63, this is the strongest competitor by far. So we know that between this position and this position, there are at least this many backlinks, which is what the top has. So right, between this and that, there are at least this many backlinks. And then probably more because of the advantage of the DR that they have. So if we want to win in this niche, we need to build at least these 10 backlinks to the homepage. And this is exactly the anchor text that we have to use for that. We need to get a handful of gibberish anchor text, but we won't. And we need to get out of this section here, right, 20%, 20%, 10%, but in reality, we're gonna put all the anchor text on this side of the equation. Never waste your guest posts, your links that cost you money because they're good links and they're worth getting. It's not a waste, but it's a misuse of the link by getting a random anchor text like visit website, click here, or getting the URL. Get your brand name if it's a very highly trusted but irrelevant website. Get the keyword if it's a very relevant site, and get the exact keyword if it's relevant and highly trusted, and do it in this exact proportion. This is why you need to get your hands in data. And normally in these videos, I pitch people the report that says, oh, get it down in the description below. And I guess in virtue of saying that, I just did. But like, we can do this for you, right? So if you don't want to go through the process of putting this together, we can do this for you, right? And then explain to you exactly how to rank. Your niche is literally all I do when it comes to client work, is just do campaigns and strategy and make sure that they succeed, right? So now we look at the emergency page because we want to rank for multiple attempts, right? Because we know that the moment that we're ranking for this, ChatGPT is going to see it. And when someone says, ChatGPT, I have an emergency and an electrician in Tampa. Good. Hey, I just saw here these Meyer Hans Electric guys were at the top of organic search on Google. So I will include them in my recommendation. They might not include you right away at the top, but they will include you because, of course, because they have to include what Google is saying, because ChatGPT is not going to say something that's massively different from what Google is saying, because they are the primary drivers of what internet opinion is in terms of what businesses should be recommended by the largest business out there when it comes to this kind of business. Google is top dog of search and data in general, right, for this. So of course people trust Google. People trust Google. If ChatGPT grabs Google's answers, ChatGPT increases the likelihood that people will also trust ChatGPT's answers because they resonate with what Google says. AIs will always try to give you an 8 on everything. It will never give you a 10 on anything because 8 is the best they can aspire to. So a result that's an 8 out of 10 in terms of the quality of the businesses that actually get recommended is all ChatGPT will ever give us. Which means if you get somewhere on the top of page 1, you will already start getting mentions on AI when people make the same term that they were asking for before on Google. Now they're asking that query on ChatGPT, yes, with more specificity, sure. But if you're there for the big terms, it knows that you exist and that you matter in that niche, and it will include you, will start including you. That's how you start building that equity on these platforms. You don't go from 0 to 1 million, number one, from 0 to 1, number one. No, you build equity for tons and tons of queries. And you start getting more and more traffic, and you do things right, you give them good content. So now that we know, let's try to rank for more keywords here. What does this say? All zeros, 0, 0, all inner pages. I also have an inner page. Perfect. What I'm going to do is build a couple of really strong backlinks, right? They are 60 pluses. I'm going to use partial match. So I will either use emergency or emergency electrician or emergency services in Tampa. I won't use the whole string. I don't see an exact match. I'm not going to do it either. I want to keep it safe, right? Of course, there could be some. There's just no links, right? So maybe the niche allows me to be a bit more aggressive. But why be aggressive when you're already being more aggressive than anyone else, right? Yes, these guys are big. Yes, these guys are big also, but we are aiming in virtue of building all of these links and the subsequent pages that I'll show you in a second to build a DR equal to that. So we will catch up with them at the DR level. We gotta trust in the process, right? We're gonna catch up, we're gonna do the right things, right? Now, industrial electrician Tampa, another different service, very different competitors, right? I don't actually like this keyword. I want to see here completely different competitors that are a lot more attuned with the industrial, but because they're so weak, right? And a 21 is cracking in with an inner page, it's probably worth pursuing. So of course, I'm not gonna do this. This is stupid. I'm gonna do this here, and I'm gonna build only 2 plus 1 DR60s. I wanna appear for industrial terms because then all related industrial terms on Perplexity and ChatGPT will start appearing more. Or any terms related to industrial electricians in that area, when people make those queries to Perplexity, I'm already in the knowledge map for industrial electrician. Even if I only get here to be number 9, it's gonna catch up because it's page 1, right? And then in position 9, just let it be known, you also get leads. And you still make money in position 9, just not nearly anywhere nearly as much as you make in position 1, but you still make money in position 9, right? Especially for what's probably pretty big ticket jobs, right? And then we're gonna have a quick look here to some sub-locations, right? So surrounding areas, right? With different counties here, right? For Tampa, and then Riverview, what do we see? same as before, okay? Same guys that we've already seen, locations pages, only Mr. Electric has some links. I'm gonna build a couple more links. Why? Because it's a lot of links to the homepage, and I wanna balance things out by building a handful of links to a bunch of other inner pages with good internal architecture, which I explain a lot more about website architecture in the masterclass that's gonna be in the description box below, as well as here. It's a 40-minute masterclass. I was a bit tired when I made the videos. My energy is a bit low, but it's nice and slow. Hopefully you will enjoy it. And I teach you big picture, everything that matters for AEO SEO in 2025 and beyond. So hopefully you will enjoy that video and learn something. On that website architecture part, right, all the internal pages that link back to the homepage, they funnel PageRank back to the homepage, they funnel traffic back to the homepage, which feeds NavBoost, which is the PageRank algorithm that measures user engagement. It's proper, it's principled, it's not hacks, it's not, you don't need any of that in SEO. Really, it's AEO and GEO. Yes, they have a lot more room for hacks. I'm exploiting some of them. I'll be teaching you them in these videos. Maybe, maybe not. But SEO is so developed that it's very principled. Yes, the flavor changes. Sometimes exact match domains rank better. Sure, whatever. They rank better for a reason that is principled, such as queries transform themselves into branded queries if the brand name is the query. Sure, math is perfect. Cool. Another sublocation, what do we see? Same guys, BBB, sorry. And then Kennedy, nothing, 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 nothing. Here, I would recommend you to just do one link at random, right? Just another page to support. Dunedain, quite different, actually. I don't like it so much. So here, when I don't see anything that looks like me, the guys are actually stronger, right? Well, BBB again. I like to build one link to the page, maybe, right? If budget allows, right? If I can afford the additional 100 something, $200 that a really good DR30 contextual link in a quality site, blah, 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 will cost, then I might build it, right? Because it, again, continues to increase the chances that I appear for more terms in more sub-regions, more is always more, unless it's less. Electrician in Brooksville, right? Again, same deal. Some home pages I'm going to ignore, right? Small Jobs Electric is the guys that I want to compare myself against, right? Because they were on my radar and they have nothing. So I can very easily kick these guys out. So I want to build one link. I want to make sure that my page has a bit more support than the competitor that I can kick out the easiest. I don't want to fight against BBB and Kennedy Electric with a homepage. I don't think I'm going to outrank them, but if I can rank number 3 for $200 and get leads from Brooksville on a monthly basis, even if it's just a handful, and make more money for $200 and be paid thousands every month, yes, right? Of course, that's what you get with SEO when it's done right. Like, it's just, you spend it right, you build it well, bit of maintenance, and you continue if necessary. But in niches like this, what do you need? You just need to build a house once in a niche like this. Competitive niches, it's always a race. Fair enough. But if you tell me that just 20 backlinks, 8 of them to the homepage, 12 to the inner pages, right, will take care of all your link building, all of your branding needs, then you need a bit of content, right? You're gonna need a bit of branded signals, a bit of good user engagement on the website. Good, good. How much do you need? Let's do a quick exploration here. All right, let's see. These are the guys that we analyze, right? Small Jobs Electric, as we said, Hoffman Electrical, and Kazars Electric. Kazars Electric is doing the best. So at the competitor drill down level to see what else is working there and what do I have to outdo through good content, backlinks, good website, fast website, all the good stuff, right? That I teach you on the masterclass. Now that it's time to really look at one reference point, because it's a competition. We don't need to be the single best website on the internet, just the best website and brand on this niche to get all the leads, because Google will put us at the top. When Google puts us at the top, you know what it does. So let's look at Kazars, right? Very strong DR, 22, good. They've been around for, let's see for how long, right? Let's put the bigger chart here. I want to use reps. For quite a long, actually, they seems to have a very nice improvement for the last couple of years and another big spike. So they're in a positive ranking state, okay? The amount of keywords that they rank for has just shot up. Yeah, a bit of a drop there starting at this day. They might have lost the power of some backlinks, right? We did analyze them. We know how many points they have. We're going to outdo them. So I don't care about backlinks anymore. I don't need to throw in further backlink questions. I already have my number, right? I know how much it costs. 20 backlinks, on average $200 per backlink, about $8,000 worth of link building, right? You can get them for more expensive. You can get them for cheaper. Doesn't matter. Quality will be around there. And if it's way cheaper, it's probably not quality. If it's way more expensive, it's probably overkill. I've done this for a very long freaking time. That's roughly what you can expect, right? To invest in those backlinks, right? So 8 grand on links. How much content do we need? All right, let's see how many pages this guy has. Kazar's Electric. Show me your content. Okay, 128 pages. That's actually quite a good amount of content, right? Good news is 2025, you can use AI to help you flesh out a lot of the content, and then you as a subject matter expert, you give it a nice check for accuracy, right? Make sure that someone uploads it and formats it nice to your website with good SEO principles in mind, and you can publish a lot of content, okay? Very, very fast. This is very, very easy to catch up with this gap. It does require a bit of work, but it's really easy. Shouldn't cost you more than a couple of grand at most, with editor and everything and images, the entire enchilada, right? So, okay, you're looking at cost of ranking on this niche, roughly, okay? They have a lot of electrician for this business, electrician for this other business, right? I have all the videos that I will link below, right, where I show you how to create a topical map for your niche with ChatGPT in 30 minutes. And you will have a list of hundreds of topics organized by parent to child topics, different hierarchies for good website architecture. All of that straight up from ChatGPT in just minutes. So go and watch that video. And now that you know how to do that and you know how many backlinks you need, let's have a quick look at the amount of branded queries that we see for this brand, which is one that has survived the previous update, is in a positive ranking state, etc. You can do this with multiple competitors. I did that on other videos. This video is long enough, almost half an hour, right? So I want to just wrap it with the last few thoughts and a couple of comments for those who want to try this at home and make a lot of money from search. Then we need to look for the query. That's the title of the business always, right? The keyword is Kazar with one R, no problem. And let's see what shows up. A couple of keywords only. And the keywords are Kazar Electric with, well, okay, Kazar, but Kazar, I guess is the last name. Yeah, from Egypt, makes absolute sense. So Kazar Electric, their brand, gets 30 searches per month, which means they're not massively popular. It's not like they have a lot of brand equity. Yes, if they've been at the top for a long time, Google has a lot of user experience data on them from RankBrain. Already they have a good score because they've been there for a long time. So you have to assume they have a good score. Otherwise, they would have dropped. And if you're starting from zero, you don't have that yet. So what you can do is run some traffic to your website through Google Ads, spend a bit of money on Google Ads to kickstart your SEO, because you give Google user engagement data from the ads, plus you send a positive brand signal of trust because you're a real brand, therefore you spend money on ads. You only have to spend like 100, 200 a month, no more than that, for some of the main terms that you want to rank for, so that you get some user engagement data. Make sure that your website is very fast before you do that, right? Make sure that the pages are really optimized for the user, that they're made simple, understandable. Slap the form at the front, so people, as they read it, like, yeah, okay, let me enter my details and let me make your number very visible so people can call you right away if they really are an emergency, right? For people who are desperate to give you money because they're desperate to solve the problem, make it very easy and be very fast, right? And with that, I think you're off to the races, really, right? That will kickstart your SEO, get you some user engagement metrics, start building those 20 backlinks, do the balance of those homepage backlinks with those inner page backlinks to build your power clusters on the website. Make sure that you do branded anchor text for the homepage. Go as rich as the charts show you for your links. Make sure that, of course, you have good website architecture. And why would you not rank when everyone who does that ranks always? I've done multiple analyses of this kind already on this video series. I want to continue to do one a day until I vomit, but I've committed to 100. So I will do 100 even if I vomit. And if I don't vomit, I might do 200 and show you 200 different niches. And in every single one of these video series, the data always points to the exact same stuff. Players with more content that's of quality, with good engagement, with more backlinks, with better reputation, they always win. I wonder why. It's almost as if the math was written into an algorithm to predictably output results that look like that. So I hope you learned something useful in this video and that managed to offer you an entertaining session, at least. I'm trying for a bit more of an honest style. This is a bit more who I actually am. The videos I'm too serious because I'm stressed, because I want to make a good video. And here I'm just trying to have fun and be useful. So tell me which style you prefer more, okay? Love you. Thanks for watching. If you need help getting all this done, you can contact me on the footer. I'm not going to sell you more stuff.